Today I bring you my retro-compatible PS3, so it reads PS1, PS2 and PS3 games obviously, and this one is not reading them at all, so it has an issue with the Blu-ray drive. So let's then disassemble the console. I will not bother you with that because I've done it a million times on the channel. So let's go straight to the disassembly unit already. Let's then remove the disk drive and see what the issue is. Usually this is just a lens that is dirty and it doesn't read discs usually, but we'll take a look into that. So we start by removing all the Phillips screws. They are all Phillips screws. So with the screws removed, we take out the lid and expose the mechanisms of the Blu-ray drive. To remove this plastic cover, we'll need to take 5 Phillips screws from the top. With the screws removed, we push the lid to the sides and we reveal the laser. So to clean the laser, I will use a damp in IPA cotton bud and pass it gently on the lens until I have it cleaned. With the other side that is dry, I dry up the lens. Since we are here, let's clean the assembly with IPA to leave it properly cleaned. In case it works, we will not open it again. So let's do a proper clean on this area. Let's clean the spindle so it adheres to the CDs properly. Let's then test it to see if it is working or not, if our solution is a solution or not. Would be very nice if it was just this, wouldn't it? But it's not. So let's take a deeper dive. So what I will be doing now is removing this lens and replacing it with a newer lens. So I have another Blu-ray drive on the side that belonged to my passed away PS3 that is a bit more modern than this one. So I will just then try and replace the laser unit itself and put it on this older drive and see if this will fix the issue with reading disks. So we need to remove this board. We need to keep this board connected to the motherboard because they are married together. So we cannot just separate the units and put a new unit on an older console or vice versa, because these two work together. So you will always need the original disk with the original motherboard. So to access the laser unit, we need to remove the little board and this protective cover from the bottom to release the flex cables on the drive. So to remove the laser now, we will need to unscrew the 4 Phillips screws to release the unit and the flex cables as well. By removing these flex cables, we will then release the laser mechanism. And now the disassembly of the newer unit. As you can see, it has 2 lasers instead of 1. So one reads CDs and DVDs and the other is specifically for Blu-rays. As the only flex cable that connects here that is common to both is the one that connects the laser, we will need to remove just the laser unit and pass it from one module to the other. That's what I will be doing right now. With that part done, let's put the older model with the new laser in the drive and let's take a spin to see if it works or not. With the drive assembled, let's then put the original board on it so it works on the console. Once again, let's take a spin on it and see if it works. This noise was not very friendly, so this will probably not be working. No, this experiment failed completely and I will need to remove the laser from there. Since we are working with custom firmware, I suspect that this is not a hardware issue but more of a software issue. So we have the option of remarrying the drive into the PlayStation. As this console was bought second-hand, I have no idea what was done, as it has been opened before, so most likely the people who were trying to fix it changed the drive and didn't do much because they didn't know what to do. So let's dump the ER key, which is the firmware for the Blu-ray drive. With the dump being done, let's then try to remarry this drive to the console. For that, we need to come over to the service tools and toggle the factory service mode. So we just press X twice and it will go into factory service mode after the reboot. So with the reboot done, the console will have a red warning saying it's in factory service mode, and we'll just need to go exactly to the same place where we were to try and remarry the drive. Unfortunately, it is not working. It's giving me red errors, so let's do a test with the audio CD to see if it does anything at all. And it also comes with corrupted data. Let's now test it with the PlayStation CD to see if it does anything different. And it does not, so it doesn't even recognize a PlayStation CD. So I have another PS3 retro compatible with a Blu-ray drive that supposedly works. So let's just do the change directly, one drive through the other, and see if it does make a difference. So it does absolutely nothing at all. So this tells us two things. They are either both good and it's a software issue, or they don't work at all. So let's give it a shot on this drive with an audio CD and see if the result is the same. And yes, it is. The data are still corrupted. Let's then try and marry this other drive to see if this will work. So trying to remarry now. It comes up with the error as well. Since I had a pen here with the custom firmware, a different one from the one that the console has, I will now just try and reinstall it to see if this makes a difference or not. So for those who don't know how to install custom firmware on consoles like PlayStation 3s, Wii's, etc., there are several YouTube videos that you can learn too, and eventually I may do one, who knows. I learned this back in the 2000s when there were only forums explaining how to do this, so I am that old. So our machine is rebooting. Let's see if this makes any difference at all. I will insert a PlayStation 2 format disk to see if it recognizes it. And it did. It did. Let's see if it runs the game. It does. So it did make a difference. So we have a software problem and not a hardware problem, which is good to know. Let's then give it a shot with a PS3 disc to see what happens. It did recognize the game. Whoa. Let's see if it runs it. Corrupted data, but why? As we are testing, let's go for a PlayStation 1 disc and see if it reads this game. It did. Let's see if it runs the game. It did as well. So we are running into a dead end here. So I decided to do a last test. So let's remove the laser module from the new drive that we put in and put it on our old drive and see if that does any difference at all, because it's supposedly the original drive of the console. So let's see if it changes anything. With that being done, let's see if it did make a difference or not. So PlayStation 3 disc reading, let's see if it comes with the game. It did not, again. So unfortunately I forgot to put it on record. So what I did was I remarried the original drive to the console. It accepted the marrying of the process of marrying, and now I've inserted a PS3 game, GTA 5. Let's see if it reads it. So spoiler alert, it did read. So the problem was that the people that had this console before installed a custom firmware that did not have Blu-ray support, so it would not read anything regarding that. So I remarried the console with the drive and it started reading discs, as you can see. So it was just a software issue. If you like the content, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will be seeing you on the next video I will do. See you on the next one then.